Uh-oh. Look who's in the garden. How did she do that? We're going to do a bird's eye view of my garden today. I thought that'd be kind of fun. Here's the grape doing really well. The grape is up over the chicken run, so the chickens have lots of shade. And since I don't eat many of those grapes, they're gonna get some sugar for dessert later on this fall. There's a lot of fish in the pond. These are flathead minnows. They're making plenty of babies. I don't know if you can actually see any of them right now. There they are. There's some water hyacinth there, which gets a little carried away. I have to pull that out on a regular basis. The chickens do eat it. And the achocha, which is the little fern here, very high protein. Chickens love that stuff. I can't grow enough. I've got 3 separate spaces for the achocha, and I'll have to figure out a way to get some more next year. We've got some duck potato here, which is really quite pretty. A little bit invasive. Got the water celery back there, which actually does taste like celery, and it's obviously related. It's also invasive. All these things are. And then we've got the cattails. This is the Welsh onion that I'm kind of excited about. I had it sent in, I think, from England. It should give me some scallions very early in the spring, and it's a perennial, so I won't have to replant it. I dried some of my mint for tea, but I leave most of it to go ahead and bloom out like this. This is just a small part of the mint, and you can see there's an incredible number of pollinating bugs in there, different species, little tiny ones, big ones. Sometimes we get some butterflies. It's just an amazing attractor for all these bugs. A lot of elderberries are going to have just a ton of fruit on this year, so we're going to get some elderberry jam, I think. We've got the corn in the back. That's a flint corn, I believe. I'll let it dry for and make some cornbread out of it if I can figure out how to do that. The squash is growing under the corn. That's the Oregon Homestead sweet meat squash down there. So if we get any, it should be really good. Chickens are not allowed in the garden right now, although they do sometimes sneak in. This right in front of us here is the achocha plant. It hasn't got any fruit on it yet, but it does have a lot of flowers, so maybe we'll get a little bit of fruit off of that this year. Not sure. It isn't really intended for this part of the country, but if we do get some, we should get a lot. And it looks like my chickens over there are harvesting my beans. That wasn't quite intended. Got over here, we got zucchini, chard, parsley, celery, kale, and lots of onions. Got onions over there. We've got 2 more beds of onions here, and then we have the candy onions along the side of the fence. Got a little carried away with onions this year, but I'm really enjoying them so far. The beans are growing up over rebar. I think the sun might be in the wrong place here, but you see the rebar arbor is about 8 feet tall, and we've got beans all the way to the top. This is my potato patch. It's a pretty big patch of potatoes, and we got tomatoes out there in the back up against the shed. They're starting to get ripe now, so I'm going to get some of those tomatoes in jars probably by next week. Pretty excited about that. They took forever to even start getting any tomatoes on there at all, but now that they have, they're getting pretty carried away with it, so I do think I'm going to get some. And right here is my peach tree. It's rather sadly mangled peach tree, but it does have some on there. So hopefully I'll get some of those in the freezer this year. It's pretty badly beat up. Several accidents have chopped it off and made it look really bizarre, but as long as it's got some peaches, I don't care. This is what's keeping the garden going. This is our comfrey. This needs to be cut. It'll be thrown into a garbage can with a little bit of chicken manure and fill the rest of it up with water. In a couple of days, that comfrey is going to look like this, because I'll chop it off. It'll come back, and it makes fantastic fertilizer. According to some people I've read, that's pretty much all you need in order to keep a garden going without any purchased inputs. So so far it's actually working. I'm pretty happy with how well things are going this year. So there we go. That's my garden. Got potatoes, got tomatoes, got onions, plums, peaches, nectarines, mulberry tree, apple, lots of beans, lots of corn, lots of squash. So I think it's gonna be worthwhile this year. It's been a lot of fun.